The night my grandfather tried to kill us, I was 5 years old. The age I stopped believing in Santa Claus, started kindergarten, and made real rather than imaginary friends. Because Grandpa was one of 2 grandfathers in their family, my cousins called him Grandpa Jerry. For me, he was simply Grandpa. I had only one. The other, my father's father, the Polish grandpa we called Jaja, was hit over the head during a burglary in his front hallway 7 years before I was born, and died after slipping into a coma. Everyone in Jersey City knew Grandpa, Italian Grandpa, as Beansy, because when he was young, he stole a crate of beans from the back of a truck. Details about his life started to bubble into my consciousness during the summer of 1970, the year my memory kicked in full force. There were stories about Grandpa going away to Trenton for murder, being arrested for armed robbery, beating my mother, her sister, and her 3 brothers. Grandpa was a well-known neighborhood bully and crook, though the only stolen objects I knew of firsthand were the ones he swiped while working as a security guard at the Jersey City Public Library and Museum in the late 1960s. The fact that Grandpa was able to get a city job as a security guard through an uncle who knew a local judge who was connected to the mayor says a lot about Jersey City's patronage system and general reputation. Everybody stole. It was no big deal. My brother inherited most of the objects Grandpa took from the library and museum. The shiny shellacked coins with Indian feathered heads, a photograph of Abraham Lincoln, small black Indian arrowheads, a set of encyclopedias. I always wondered if Grandpa stole them book by book or had one of his friends with a car pull up to the library and help him load them in. The only stolen object of Grandpa's that I possess is a dictionary, a Webster's 7th New Collegiate Edition, which he inscribed to my sister the year I was born. From Grandpa, Hiya, Paula. Year, 1965. The call numbers on the spine and the blue stamp on a back page, which reads, Free Public Library, Jersey City, New Jersey, have been crossed out in blue indelible marker, his attempt to legitimize the gift. Grandpa obviously had his own interpretation of the phrase, Free Public Library. Before I started school, my grandma Pauline babysat for me while my mother worked as a clerk at the Jersey City Division of Motor Vehicles office, 3 blocks away. When Grandma died in February of 1970, my mother had no one to babysit, so she quit her job. Though I'm sure I missed my grandma, a saintly woman with a halo of white hair and small, pretty hands, my world changed for the better. I was suddenly the center of my mother's attention. With Grandma gone, Grandpa was at the center of no one's. Because my grandmother had stayed married to Grandpa for 4 decades, she died fairly young. She was only 60. She died on Ash Wednesday, the first day of Lent. By then, Grandma hated Grandpa so much that on her deathbed, with the smudge of ashes on her forehead, she made my mother promise that Grandpa wouldn't be buried on top of her when he died. She couldn't stand the thought of his remains mingling with hers. During her lifetime, Grandma quietly threatened to poison Grandpa, but she never did. She never even got up enough courage to leave him. I couldn't understand why she stayed with him for so long, or why she was even with him to begin with. Maybe it was because Grandpa was so handsome. Like my mother, he had delicate features, thin lips, and olive skin. His hairless body was covered in tattoos, like a bloom of fresh blue and purple bruises, which he'd gotten when he was in the Army, which he joined illegally at age 14. On his leg was tattooed a hula girl, which in his lighter, happier moments, Grandpa would make dance for me by rippling his calf muscle.